guys, Algebra Mr. Lawrence here with a flipped lesson for you. Now, you learned how to write equations of lines when you knew the slope and the y-intercept. Sometimes you had the line drawn and you counted the slope and you found the y-intercept and you were able to write the equation in the form of y equals mx plus b, right? Well, I'm going to suggest to you that it is possible to write the equation of a line passing through these 2 points if all you know are the 2 points. Now, as smart as you guys are, I'll bet you're already thinking, hey, I could figure out the slope here. And you're right, we are going to figure out the slope because to write an equation in slope by intercept form, we need the slope. Now, the other thing we're going to need is the y-intercept. Now, as you look at these 2 sample problems here, and there's actually one more down here, you notice I don't know the y-intercept of any of the points. I don't have any point that says 0 and then a number. Okay, but this is really simple to do. The first thing we're going to do, find the slope like we said. So it's problem number 1. Let's find the slope. Let's do the difference of the y's. So I'm going to choose to do y sub 2 minus y sub 1. So I'm going to go -1 minus -2, which is a positive. Oop, looks like I'm writing uphill. Sorry about that. And that'll be over 6 minus 4. 6 minus 4. So my fraction for my slope will be +1 over 2 is 1/2. So I know m is 1/2, right? Well, now, if I could figure out b, I could write my equation. Well, if I look at this equation here, y equals mx plus b. One way to figure out b might be to fill in values for the slope. I know the slope, it's 1/2. I could put 1/2 in for m. And then to fill in an x value and a y value. Do I know x and y? I know it's a line. I know it goes on forever. Wait a minute. Isn't this an x coordinate? And that a y coordinate? Yeah, I could plug the slope into the equation. Right here, the slope would go right there for m. I could plug this for the y coordinate right there. And then I could plug this 6 in for the x coordinate. If I did that, I'd be able to solve for b, or in other words, the y-intercept. Let me do it. So let me put -1 in for y, and my slope is 1/2, and then my x-coordinate is 6, but since I'm multiplying by half, I might write it as 6 over 1. You know, if that was a whole number there, I probably wouldn't have done 6 over 1. Okay, plus b. Now I'm going to simplify the right-hand side. 1/2 of 6 is 3, plus b. That's equal to -1. I'm going to get b alone by subtracting 3 from both sides. And now I know that b is going to equal -4. All right. Well, if I have the slope and the y-intercept, I can write my equation. My equation is going to be y equals 1/2 x minus 4. Yeah, that'll be the equation of the line that goes through those 2 points. Now, hold on one second here. Where did my recorder go? Let me pause it. These were the 2 points I was given in the problem. So if I plot 4, -2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 right there, and then I plot 6, -1, 6, -1 right there. I know my line is going to go through those points, and I know my slope is 1/2. Rise 1, run 2. Look at that. Well, so if I find some points heading towards the y-intercept, down 1, back 2, down 1, back 2, I can get the y-intercept without actually even drawing the line. I can put the line in there if it helps you. there's my line. And you see, look at my y-intercepts right here. What are the coordinates of my y-intercept? Well, they'd be 0, -4. And didn't I solve for b to be -4? So without the graph, I can find the slope, find the y-intercept by just doing a little bit of algebra. So the equation of this green line here would be y equals 1/2 x minus 4, just like I said on the other page. All right, let's try another example. And this time I have the point 1, -2, and the point -1, 4. So step 1 is to find the slope. Step 1, find the slope. M is going to be the difference in the y's over the difference in the x's. 4 plus 2 is 6. -1 minus 1, -2. That'll be -3. All right, so my slope is -3. Now, I chose not to keep it as a fraction because we're writing an equation, but -3 over 1 would be fine, or 3 over -1. I like the simplified form for my equation. Now, step 2, I'm going to find b. But to find b, I have to plug in a y, the slope, an x coordinate into the equation y equals mx plus b. Well, I know from the last problem my slope is right here. And I know I have, I need a y, and I need an x. Oh, look at this. I have a y, an x, and a y right there. Now, some of you are probably wondering, could I have used the other point? Of course I could. How do I know which point to pick? It usually doesn't matter. There can be some situations where, maybe like this first one where you're taking 1/2 of whatever x is, and if one of the points doesn't have x as an even number, then I wouldn't want to do that because I have to work with a decimal or a fraction, but I can still get it right. So it doesn't really matter which one I pick. All right, so I'm going to rewrite this equation, filling in -2 for y, filling in -3 for x, or for m, 1 for x, and I'm going to solve it for b. So I get -2 equals -3 plus b. I'll add 3 to each side. And it looks like I'm going to get -1 equals b. In other words, the y-intercept of this point, of this line, is 0 and -1. Oh no, it's +1, isn't it? My mistake. -2 plus 3 is +1. So my y-intercept is at 1. Well, if I know the slope and I know the y-intercept, I can write the equation. Y equals -3x plus 1. And there you go. I'm not actually going to graph it, but if I did, you would see that it crosses the y-axis at the point 0, 1. All right, one more example, and then we'll let you go. We'll get some practice with this on Tuesday. All right, first of all, the point is 4, -1, and then we have 8, 0. Step 1, find the slope. Oops. So m is going to equal the difference in the x's, the difference in the y's, 0 minus -1, which is 0 plus 1, over 8 minus 4. Looks like I'm going to get a 1/4 for my slope. All right, now I'm going to use the equation y equals mx plus b. And I'm going to plug in one-fourth for my slope. And then I'm going to plug in an x coordinate and a y coordinate. Where do I get them from? From one of these 2 points. Now, I like working with zeros a lot. I'm going to go ahead and work with those 2. I'm going to be careful when I plug this in. The y coordinate is 0, and 0 is going to equal 1/4 times 8, and I'll write 8 as a fraction, 8 over 1. All right, plus b. So 0 is going to equal 1/4 times 8, is going to be 2, plus b. I'll subtract 2 to get the b alone, and then I will get -2 equals b. And so the y-intercept occurs at 0, -2. And my equation will end up being y equals 1/4 x minus 2. And that's it. It's as easy as that. All you need to do, find the slope of the line going through the 2 points, use the slope, use the x-coordinate and y-coordinate of one of the 2 points, plug them all into the equation y equals mx plus b, solve for b. Now that you know m and b, you can rewrite the equation y equals mx plus b. You leave y and x as variables. You plug in the slope. You plug in the y-intercept, and you are done and a happy camper. All right, we'll get some practice with this tomorrow. Mr. Lawrence says good night, everybody.